So, yeah, had to come out to the car for a quick follow-up video regarding the Elmer O. Locker channel, because I got a couple interesting comments today and insights that might have changed my opinion slightly, not in a surprising way, but I wanted to just make this video when it was fresh in my mind because I think it's illustrative of a much larger point. But before I do that, I want to let you know that this upcoming Saturday, which is August 10th, I believe, at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, August 10th, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Marvin and I are going to have a free group session on Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern, August 10th. We usually don't do, or I usually don't do free group sessions on the weekend. So we thought we would offer this so people who sometimes can't make it during the week could attend a free group coaching session. If you have interest in joining us in that session, I will put the Zoom link below. Zoom link below to the Saturday session. I hope to see you there if you want to join. So yesterday's video, I'll put a link above in case you didn't see it. Or maybe by the time this comes out, the last video I did, I might not release this till tomorrow. It was just talking about the Elmer O. Locker channel, how David, the guy who runs that channel, has some pretty impressive manifesting stories. And I was saying how he seems to be an exception in the sense that he's actually a YouTuber who seems to get consistently big external results. The video is basically saying that, it's extremely rare to be able to do that from what I've seen. And that David seems to be an exception. However, and again, like I said, this isn't really a surprise to me, but I thought it was worth making a follow-up video about a couple of people who I've spoken to before. They're not just random people making comments. I got an email and then there's a YouTube comment that just make me actually a little bit more skeptical about some of the stuff that David's been claiming he's been manifesting. And again, I'm not making this video to bash David. And I think David actually has some good stuff to share, as I mentioned in the last video. This is about the larger point about this law of assumption, YouTube, social media, spiritual bypassing scene. That is how people, unfortunately, usually come across these Neville Goddard ideas these days. And that is, you don't know what the F to trust and what's legitimate and what is not, right? So apparently, and again, this is all, I have no idea if this is true or not. No idea, all right? I'm just sharing this, right? Apparently, David claimed that he manifested like several $1 million or like $5 million in Bitcoin while he was in prison still, right? And he basically, according to this commenter, it's in the comments, didn't provide any proof. And then I had someone else that, I was emailing with that I know, basically just saying that she's been in chats with David before in his group. And just how like he didn't seemingly know much about crypto and how the whole thing, he was hiring new people to make his clickbaity videos more enticing, the thumbnails better, all this stuff. He was complaining about that. He was doing kind of childish stuff, according to this person, all which I believe. And anyway, this person was saying that she would be very surprised if David was not just utterly full of shit. And it's incredibly dubious to me when someone makes a claim like they're manifesting, $1 million+ in Bitcoin while in prison, but then don't show any real proof of that. And then a lot of the car stuff in manifesting cars, that may all be true, or some of it may be true, but it also could rather easily be doctored, right? And the point here is, guys, just be wary when you see all this sensationalistic stuff being spouted by these people and these stories being spouted on whatever big YouTuber you follow, right? Whatever influencer you follow in regards to Neville and the law of assumption, if they've got a big channel and they're telling you sensationalistic story after sensationalistic story, it's going to give you a very warped view of what these ideas are going to do for you in your life in all likelihood, right? Not to say that they can't possibly do that in your life, or sometimes you won't have incredible stories of manifesting something externally amazing. But generally speaking, for 99.9% of you, that's not going to be the case. It's not going to be how these ideas actually work in your life for good and bad. It's not. And, even though I'm the opposite of a sensationalistic teacher when it comes to this stuff, I don't mind some of the fantastic stories. I don't mind some of the stuff that David tells if he's telling the truth. I don't mind some of the stuff that Candace, who has a YouTube channel, she doesn't post anymore. Candace Toth, now I think Candace Tuscerone, because she married a guy, Brian, she took his last name. Some of her crazy stories. She's got crazy stories. I don't mind hearing those stories sometimes. I don't mind thinking out of the box towards this stuff. I can just tell you in my own life and working with people, these exceptional sensationalistic stories that you hear all the time on YouTube are not how this shit actually works for the vast majority of you. It's just not. It's not. I'm sorry. That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. If we get real about this stuff, we can start integrating it into our life in a much more fulfilling way. Right? If you want to see the other side, one of my favorite videos I did probably in the last year or so is I talked about my 10-year experience since I found out about the law of assumption and Neville. My results after 10 years of applying this stuff. And I'll put a link above to that video. I really like that video. And a lot of you are going to watch that and never watch another video by me again. And then a lot of you are going to watch that and be like, wow, like that's really interesting and impressive. And I hope I can do something like that in terms of integrating these ideas into my life. Unlike a lot of these channels, I'm not trying to just bring people to the party. I don't care about subscribers, guys. I just want the right people to find this information and to share it with more people, right? As Marvin said in a recent video, he's like, sub counts mean nothing. I mean, Maggie's been making videos now for years, and she has 15,000 subscribers or something like that. I think her channel's existed for 5 years or something like that. And Maggie's channel, I'll put a link above to Maggie's channel if you don't know it. Maggie's channel, I posted this in the comments of the video the other day. Maggie's the best Neville YouTuber. The scope of the videos she's made and the quality and depth of the videos she's made are so much better than any other YouTube channel about Neville's teachings. It's not even remotely close. So, if you're looking for good law of assumption advice, watch one of, the hundreds of videos that Maggie has put out there. Do you want to be excited and be thinking theoretically about all the sensational stuff, or do you want this stuff to start working in your life and integrate it in a fulfilling way, in whatever way that means for you, right? And this stuff is prevalent in this spiritual space, this new age space. It always has been. I mean, it still blows my fucking mind. You hear people raving about Napoleon Hill all the time. And Napoleon Hill made up Think and Grow Rich. He made it up. He used his imagination to talk to all those people. He didn't actually talk to all those people, guys. I'll put an article below, I'll put an article below, even though I'm putting the Zoom link below as well. I'll put an article below to the Napoleon Hill story. The Napoleon Hill story, is this guy basically made shit up and was kind of a criminal. And he's one of the more successful self-improvement teachers of all time. So people like David, I have no effing idea if they're telling the truth or not. I just try to get what I can from him and disregard the rest. And, you're going to learn a lot from people that are not necessarily good people in this space if you're open, right? And you're going to learn a lot from people who are good people, right? But we can take all these ideas in. But when you start buying into sensationalism, into the sensationalistic quality of these teachings, and thinking that's how they're going to work in your life, chances are, you're going to go down a path that's not fulfilling. So, yeah, this video is just a reminder of that. Oh, yeah, also as an aside, a couple of people have been asking me about Tom Caron, be something wonderful. And again, I have no opinion really on Tom. I've got a pretty neutral opinion, and I would not suggest him to be a coach unless you resonate with his stuff. But when someone like Tom, I wanted to mention this because like Tom, I've never spoken to Tom, so I don't know, but be something wonderful has like a trademark on it, right? That's usually a red flag, okay? When there's a trademark on something, and then it's just all these positive sensationalistic testimonials, right? But then you hear a coaching story about like getting SP advice being like, you'll see movement within 3 days, and then it doesn't happen, and it's like, well, what then? You just go with what resonates with you. And generally speaking, if something seems off, chances are it's probably a little bit off, right? Doesn't mean you can't learn anything from it, but it might be a little bit off. And we can be a little bit on more of the time. I think almost all of us can. We can learn that and cultivate that. So yeah, I hope you join us for the Saturday free group session if you want. The link will be below, as well as that great article on what a charlatan Napoleon Hill was. Any questions, I can be reached at radicalcounselor.com.